Hello there, and then welcome to a brand new video. This is Happy on Numbers, where we learn maths the easy way. Now in this lesson, we are learning how to draw a straight line on a Cartesian plane. Without much ado, let's quickly look into it. Now, talking of drawing a straight line on a Cartesian plane, we all know that the equation, that is the slope form equation of a straight line, is giving us y is equal to, you have your m, x, and then plus your c. I hope you do remember that. Where our m is our gradient and then our c is the y-intercept. And talking of gradients, we mean the slope of the line. The c over here, which we are saying is the y-intercept, that is where your line crosses the y-axis. Okay, so we are given an equation of a line, and then you want to draw it on a Cartesian plane. Then you need to have your range of values of x. If you're able to get the range of values of x, you substitute each value into your equation over here. So we are substituting each value into what? X. And with that, we are going to get pair of coordinates. Pair of coordinates in the form x and then y, which is best represented on a table. If you're able to represent this on a table now, you then do what? Plot it out on your point, on your Cartesian plane. Sorry. So you plot the point out on your Cartesian plane, and then you join the point with a straight line using a ruler. So let's look at it. Let's have a feel of this to understand all that I'm saying. So in this first question here, we have to draw a graph for y equals what? 2x plus 1 for this interval over here. And after we draw, we have to do what? Use the graph to answer all of these questions we have here. So let's look at how we can go about it. Now we know that the equation of the line is giving us y is equal to, we have a 2x plus 1. That is the equation we've been given. And it says for -2, which is less than or equal to x, less than or equal to 2. What this means is you are going to substitute all the values ranging from -2 towards 2. You see, so we start by saying for x, which is equal to -2. You see, then it implies that we are going to have our y being equal to 2 into bracket our x, which is -2, then plus 1. You see, so upon simplifying, we have what? -2 times -2 gives us -4 plus 1. A -4 plus 1 gives us a -3. You see, so we have our first set of points. Then we go to the next value of x. So we come and then say for x, which is equal to, so from -2, we are going to -1. And we say it implies that our y is equal to the 2 into bracket -1 plus 1. Remember, we are using the equation of the line, which says what? Y is equal to 2x plus 1. That is why we are getting this 2 over here. You see, to evaluating this, we are going to get our y being equal to what? If you evaluate all this, you get -1. You see, so you have to do the same thing for all your values. You come and say for x equals 0, you are going to get y, which is equal to 2 into bracket 0 plus 1. You see, evaluating, we have our y being equal to 1. Then you come to the next x coordinate. So for x is equal to 1, it implies that we have our y being equal to 2 into bracket 1 plus 1. You see, and if you solve further, you have your y being equal to your 2 plus 1, and y is equal to 3. Then you come again, and then for, I think that's the last one. So for x is equal to 2, you are going to get what? Your y value being equal to 2 into bracket 2 plus 1. And upon evaluating, you are going to get your y being equal to 5. Now, after all of this, what you do is you can form a table. You see, you can form a table to represent all the points you have gotten. So forming a table of values for all the values of x that we use. So remember, for the values of x, we had our x being what? -2. So remember the range of values: -1, 0, 1, and then 2. And their corresponding y values, that is what we got from our calculation. So you have -3, -1, then 1, 3, and then 5. That is if you solved it along, then you had all your values. So these are the points we are going to plot. You see, we are going to plot these set of values. So let's go to our graph, get our Cartesian plane, and then we can now begin. So we now come and then plot our values. Looking at how I have done my Cartesian plane, I know I don't need a lot of negative values, you see. So there's no need trying to extend the negatives, you see. So for our first set of points, we had -2, -3. So we come to x being -2 and y being -3. And this side here, they intersect here. See, so this is going to be my first point. The second one was what? -2, -1, -1. So -1, -1. I put that here as well. Then the next one being 0, 1. So on x, I have 0. But on y, there is a 1. You see, so that is going to be here. You plot all the values. The next one is 1, 3. So x is 1, y is 3. That is also here as well. Then x is 2. When x is 2, y is 5. So I locate that over here. Then after being able to locate out your point, you now draw a straight line. A straight line. So my straight line is going to start from this point here through the other points and then ends at the last coordinates. And if you do it well, you realize that it would pass through all the points. You see, so this here is the equation of the line. Sorry, is the line that represents our equation y equals 2x plus 1. So you can come here and then write the equation on the line. So I'm writing it on it nicely as you see over there. Now that we are done drawing our line, there are some questions that follow. You see, so for this first question here, it says, what is y when x is 1.5? What is y when x is 1.5? So how do we go about it? And remember, it says from the graph. So we need to go to the graph. This is our graph. And then we look for y when x is what? 1.5. So how do we do that? You put your line, your ruler, on the point 1.5. And this here is my 1.5. So I'll trace it to hit my line. So I'll trace it from 1.5 here to touch what? My line over here. Then where it touches the line, and I'll trace it to hit my y-axis. You see? So what we are saying is, the question said, what is the value of y when x is 1.5? You don't put 1.5 into the equation, but rather you come to your graph and look for where 1.5 is. Trace it to hit this line here. You see? And then you trace it to meet this y-axis over here. The value here is what corresponds to the value of y when x is 1.5. So with that, all you do is you come back in here and then see, they said, what is the value of y when x is 1.5? So you come and say, from graph, the value of y is what? Y is equal to 4. You see? Then now let's go to the second one. I said, what is x when y equals 2? What is x when y equals 2? So you come back here, then you come and look for where you have y equal to 2. So on your y-axis, this is our y-axis. We come to y equals 2. And then you trace it to meet our line. You see? Now after tracing it, you now trace downwards. You see? From this point, you see? to meet your x-axis. And as you can see, you have it what here. And per our scale, which says 1:1. You see, it simply means that the point here is a 0.5 or a half. 0.5 or a half. So we come back here and say, what is x when y equals 2? So graph, from graph, when y equals 2, x equals what? 0.5. You see? And this part of the question says, what is the gradient? For the gradient, you don't necessarily even have to solve for anything. Because if you remember, the equation of the line was giving us 2x plus 1. And if you are to compare it to the gradient equation, which is y equals mx plus c, we said our m is always our gradient. You see, so right from the equation of the line, you can tell that your gradient is 2, and for that there's even no need to solve. So we say our gradient, which is m, is equal to 2. Then this question here also says, what is the y-intercept? What is the y-intercept? The y-intercept is the point where your line, this line we have drawn, cuts the y-axis. So you would realize that it cuts our y-axis here at this point. Then you ask yourself, what is the coordinate of this point over here? On this point, x is actually 0 and y is 1. You see? So we come back here and see, from graph, the y-intercept is what? So its coordinate is 0, 1. As simple as that. Then it says, does the graph go uphill or downhill? As you can see, it is going what? Uphill. And hence we have what? A positive gradient. You see? Hence we have a positive gradient. So I'm just coming to put the equation back here. You see? So hence it has a positive gradient. So this actually ends this question. As usual, I'll leave some exercises so you try them out to test your understanding. So here are the set of questions you can try. It says draw the graph of the following equations, and you have your range being from -2 to 3. And then these are the equations over here. So the first one, second, third, there are about 5 of them. And for each graph, you have to answer the following. So what is the value of y when x is 1.5? What is the value of x when y is 0? What is the gradient? And then what also is the y-intercept? This is how far this video is going to be, or is going to get. Now we'll look more into details into other concepts in our next video. You can always check on the playlist to go through all that we've done so far. This is how Beyond Numbers, where we learn maths the easy way. If this is your first time, you can always choose to subscribe so that anytime, that is if you so do wish, so that anytime I post any video, you can be notified as well to learn along. Stay blessed and have a nice day. Bye.